This time on Watchers of Tomorrow, would you please quit doing that?
Hello, welcome to Watchers of Tomorrow, the sci-fi review and critique show that certainly doesn't have improper ties to historical tragedies that we don't want to have to talk about. No. My name is Gep, and I'm joined as always by my friend and co-host, Dr. Izix.
Hi!
And this week we have the weird one that ties itself into really, really terrible historic North American practices.
Yeah, this is totally all about integration, isn't it?
I don't know what this is trying to be about. I guess I kind of respect, and we'll get into that the episode, does a turnaround in the end, but the fact that it needed to do a turnaround kind of says some really fucked up things about the way the things they're insinuating about the way the Federation is working right now.
A little bit. No, there is maybe a couple other sort of angles one could try to approach this, but yeah, still there's that. So, suddenly human.
Yes, this is suddenly human.
Like, it's not suddenly Seymour, it's suddenly human.
Yeah,
Oh,
less catchy.
Yes. Less giant plants trying to eat people too, so, there's that. Probably.
Pretty sure Suddenly Seymour is one of those ones that I can remember the first two lines, and then in my head it turns into other songs because I haven't seen that in so long. So I can't be sure if I'm even remembering the tune correctly.
There's something about being right there beside you, I think.
Yeah, okay. So I've got it that far then.
Yeah. That's all I can remember too.
We can complain about songs more in this one too. So I spent way too long complaining about songs that were related to the episode last time.
So, are we just going to become a musical podcast, Gepwin?
Eventually.
Okay.
But it still won't be topical.
Well, sometimes topical is all about rubbing it on your skin.
Yeah.
Wait,
the most topical thing I know about music right now is that Taylor Swift wrote a song about her fiance's dick.
Oh, okay. Well, good for her.
Yep. Apparently.
Is it praising it or condemning it or it exists?
Seems to be praising it, but yeah, okay. I haven't listened to the song. I've seen a compilation of news people trying to awkwardly reference the song. That's about as far as I've gone.
Well, come on, people. People got used to referencing Pussy Riot, so, deal with it. Come on. We need to be less prudish. Anyway.
So this Suddenly Human was written by Ralph Phillips, who worked as a writer on 80s and 90s shows, including several episodes of Twilight Zone and Beyond Reality.
That's where we want to be, right?
Yeah, maybe. Depends on your definitions of reality.
But so the story, but there's also some teleplay people too.
Yes, screenplay written by John Whipley and Jerry Taylor. They worked on shows like Charlie's Angels and MacGyver, which somehow got autocorrected to MacGyver. I don't know why there's a Y in there. Mission Impossible. Wrote several of the Tremors sequels.
Oh, yeah.
Final Conflict and Andromeda, that show that existed and people remember.
Yes, where Kevin Sorbo became Space Jesus.
Yep.
Wait, no, that's Andromeda. Yes, Andromeda.
Yeah, yes. Andromeda. I've tried watching that show so many times, and every time it's like, well, we showed up, we are the most powerful thing in the entire galaxy, and this presents no issue to us.
Yep. Except that one time where they weren't, but they just ran away and it was fine.
I always liked Kevin Sorbo before he got all weird. I was a big fan of Hercules.
But, sometimes people decide to embrace the badness instead of, being, not insane.
Yeah. Seems like being a celebrity is not good for you.
Not really. It's like, I can pick up a niche issue and make it my entire personality. And my niche issue is that God exists and everyone must worship. Okay. Get a little strong here.
I know God existed because I spent most of my career playing a Greek demigod.
And, I got smited plenty of times. And so this clearly means the Judeo-Christian God exists. Got it.
And then Jerry Taylor became more of a writer on Next Gen, did several DS9 Voyager episodes, and produced Next Gen and Voyager episodes.
Yeah, became the showrunner for Voyager for a while there, like 2 or 3 seasons, I think.
Yeah, since Voyager became everybody's baby and nobody cared about Deep Space Nine.
Yes. Jerry Taylor is also involved with Quincy. He's better than a lawyer. He's a coroner.
Yeah, that's who you need.
It's what I'm referencing a joke from Space Ghost, Coast to Coast. They were like, we're looking for a lawyer. Matlock. Perry Mason, Matlock, Quincy. He's not a lawyer. But same kind of time period. Anyway.
Then we also have 2 guest stars and other people who are hanging around in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So Sherman Howard is playing Indar. He's best known for his roles as Bub in The Day of the Dead and Lex Luthor in the 1990s Superboy show.
Yeah.
Also did a lot of work on direct-to-video cartoon sequels.
Was in the Mummy TV series as one of the voice actors there. Also various Jack and Dexter games. Showed up in an Invader Zim. Was Tigreth in Voyager.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that has played at least one character in every 90s Star Trek.
So, just one of those guys that pops up here and there. Pacific Blue. Good and Evil. Quantum Leap.
You need a lot of random guest stars for your anthology shows. Like Quantum Leap, Outer Limits.
Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
There's also an American Tale, The Treasure of Manhattan Island. Which I've never heard of.
Well, isn't that just the friends we made along the way to Broadway?
Possibly. Wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, he was in Batman Beyond. It's Blight.
Yeah, Blight. Blight's great.
A lot of fun stuff here. Anyway.
Need to look up if Blight's the one I'm thinking of.
Not confused with Dr. Blight from Captain Planet.
Yeah, there we go. Blight. Blight's the best one. Blight's the best villain. You killed my father. Do you have any idea how little that narrows it down?
Yep. Who are you?
And then we've got Chad Allen, who's playing Jono or Jeremiah Rosa. He began acting at 7. He won the Young Artist Award 3 times. He was on the Dream Our House. I might have written that down wrong, but I'm not going to look it up now. It was also on My Two Dads, which is the one I've actually heard of. And a lot of guest appearances on 80s shows like Airwolf, etc.
Yeah. Webster, something about Highway to Heaven, maybe, The Wonder Years, that sort of thing.
He was later as an adult actor on Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, and then became a psychologist and doesn't act anymore.
Yeah. So one of his later acting roles was on Dexter, so maybe he's like, maybe I need to rethink my life and study psychology, so this makes sense.
The one notable more recent role that I just randomly found was in 2002. He was in something called Sexy, credited as Voice One.
What a sexy position.
Yeah.
An animated poem essay into what's sexy. There's apparently 5 voices.
And he's the first one.
Yes. Voice
most coveted voice. Possibly the sexiest voice.
Excellent. On the other hand, Death. Another one of his roles.
Who hasn't played Death?
That's a good question, actually.
Eventually, you all play Death at some point.
It's like either Death or King Lear. So Patrick Stewart's probably done King Lear at this point. Everyone else gets Death.
Yeah.
Lear or death?
Lear or death.
Actors of England.
Okay. This is a story that happens in this episode, and we're gonna have to talk about it. It's the thing we did to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
The Enterprise is responding to a distress call from a Talarian battleship who we've never heard of before and will not hear of again.
It would have been useful to maybe have them be, say, I don't know, referenced in DS9 during that one episode where the Defiant gets taken over and is being flown by the computer and some sort of computer virus thing into Zenkethi space or something like that. They could have just made it Talarians.
Yeah, I don't know why they just have to make up a new random alien every time.
Yep.
How many random inconsequential aliens border the Federation here?
Yeah, about 150 at this point.
The Talarians are a warlike people who don't like the Federation. They have in the past used ship distress calls as bait, where they draw people in with a distress call and then blow it up.
So keep our shields up, I guess?
Yeah, they also, as we will hear several times, pose absolutely no threat to the Federation whatsoever in any regard.
Yes. So this is kind of one of those conflicts where the Talarians don't really know who they're picking a fight with. They're just like, we're going to go fight you. And like, well, if you want, but you can like hurt some of our civilians maybe, but in terms of our actual like fleet, yeah, you're kind of outclassed here. And also we outnumber you massively and, have way more resources and all the other things that make this a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's one of those, well, they are going to attack us, but they aren't even going to lower our shields even a tiny bit.
Mm-hmm.
So the Enterprise, of course, decides that they need to risk a rescue mission because they're the good guys. And they find that this was probably a training ship because it's filled with young people, one of whom is human.
Well, that's a little weird. Wait a moment, do you think, is it a training exercise to kidnap humans?
Yes. It's an exercise of human kidnapping.
Well, I hope they give him back at some point, right? That's what's going on, right?
Yeah, that's the whole episode, basically. So the human and several Talarians who we will never see again. The kid is called Jono, and he doesn't want to talk to anyone. They're all in sick bay, and Crusher tries to examine him, and he and all the other kids start making a weird whining noise that everyone finds deeply annoying.
And so does the audience, generally.
Picard enters, and is very annoyed that he yells at them all to stop, which they do. Crusher informs him Jono won't talk, but as soon as he is identified as captain, Jono jumps out of his chair and asks to be taken home to his captain. They have a whole captain worship thing going on here.
Yeah, I guess they love their authority figures. Wait a moment. The Borg. Maybe they had accidentally assimilated one of these guys that thought they were human.
Yeah, so they need an authority figure.
Yeah.
So later, Crusher tells Picard that she thinks Jono was abused because he has several old broken bones and a small concussion, and she recommends that they need to be careful because they might be letting him back with a potential abuser.
Uh-oh.
And he might have Stockholm Syndrome, because it's the 90s and we haven't shut up about that yet.
Yeah, there's a whole like mess of nonsense there that we could go into if we wanted to, but it's generally kind of bogus.
Yeah, I don't have all of the stuff, but it's basically this young white girl couldn't have possibly held radical beliefs. She must have been brainwashed, which is definitely a real thing that happens to people.
Yeah, there is some instances of folks becoming, I guess, sympathetic for their their captors and things like that in like these are humans too, and they actually kind of have a good thing that point they're arguing for, but I'm not going to like pick up a gun and start shooting people for them. That would be silly.
Mm-hmm. I was just reading a book called Cultish, which is a very interesting thing about how cult language has kind of infiltrated all of our society. They had a whole thing about how brainwashing was just a convenient way to explain why anybody would join a cult. There's no actual evidence that you can forcibly change somebody's mind like that.
Yeah.
And it's not going to force someone to do something they weren't already predisposed to want to do.
Oh, you want to run away from your abusive family? Well, no one would ever do that, right?
Well, you hit a problem with cults, because cults are often joined by people who are fairly well off and aren't in, like, terrible abusive situations, and you would assume should know better, so we have to go like, well, why does this smart person do that? It's brainwashing with magic.
So, it's not, there's not, any sort of things that might have primed them up for this or something like that, right?
It's a very interesting book, but mildly depressing. So they established that Jonah doesn't want to take his gloves off because aliens are dirty and he doesn't want to touch anyone. This will randomly become important later. He also comes from a super patriarchal society that hates women. So Worf has to do a feminism.
Yeah. So, like, the human women can, kick your ass too, you kid. Come on.
Yeah. Which also, like, Worf's an interesting choice for that, given Klingon society seems to have a will they, won't they with patriarchy.
Yeah, some days it is, sometimes it isn't. And it's
sometimes everyone's equal, and sometimes women can't own property.
It's kind of baffling, and I think it might come down to Goron's just a misogynist, but
Possibly it's just everyone hates the Duras sisters, and they told them women aren't allowed to own property just to try to get rid of them.
Yeah. A political switch to flip in order to target one specific person and never mind the fallout.
So the Duras are coming. Get rid of all the women. Women don't have any place in our society. We can't let them get power.
Man, Klingon society sucks.
Mm-hmm. But women can do anything men can do in human society, which I don't know why that's always, like, our society has different rules than your society is always their argument. We have the superior society. Listen to our society, kid.
Now, it would be kind of interesting sometime if we run into a highly gender divided society, and we meet either all the men or all the women, and they're like, the other side is weak and terrible, and it ends up being sort of an inverse of the Kazinti situation, where the women are actually highly intelligent and convinced all the men to view women like that they're weak or something like that, so that the men would be all gung-ho about being their soldiers and things like that. And it's like, oh yes, of course we need to get ourselves killed in this war here because we are the only strong ones in our society. And then women are like, oh, okay, have fun.
Now you're just getting into weird MRA rhetoric.
I don't know, man. I'm trying to badly salvage any of this sort of constant cropping up of gender divisions in sci-fi because it's just so overdone, and it's most of it's terrible.
This does not fit in this episode. I don't know if we'll keep it in the edit, but I realized the other day when I was thinking about the weird gender stuff they always do on this show. That episode, the Angel 1 episode where they go to the woman planet and the leader is really into Riker. It occurred to me that is kind of the equivalent of somebody going to a super patriarchal society and their leader being like aggressively into a butch woman.
Yeah. Which
is kind of interesting. We think it's normal because, Riker's supposed to be hot. But from their perspective, this is just an incredibly butch dude.
Mm-hmm.
And the leader is like, I've never seen a butch dude before.
This is intriguing. Alluring, even. Oh, I have a better way to rewrite all the gender nonsense. We meet the men, and they're kind of doofuses. And then we meet the women, and the women are actually like trees.
Okay, you just accidentally did the one of the Orson Scott Card books, which I try not to mention because he's a douchebag. But that's kind of the plot of, or basically the plot of Speaker of the Dead and the 5 weird Mormon books that he wrote after that.
Damn you, Orson Scott Card! All right, we'll flip it, and the women are the ones we meet, and then the men, they're actually like clouds. How about that? Has anyone done that?
The one that they haven't done is you meet all of the super hot alien women, and then it turns out in their society they're men, and the people that you would assume are the men are the ones who have babies. And you can't wrap your head around it as a weird human.
I think that technically showed up once in Farscape, but yes, it's pretty rare.
So back on the ship, they get Jono's DNA or whatever the fuck they sent in back from Starfleet, and it turns out that he was a kid called Jeremiah Rosa, who is the grandson of Admiral Rosa.
Ah. Well, that's kind of convenient.
His parents were killed by the Talarians during a fight on their colony, and Troi thinks that Picard has to be the one to get Jono to come back to humanity, because he only respects Picard and hates women, so Troi can't do it.
And, well, maybe Troi owes Riker money right now and, doesn't want, to be under any scrutiny or something like that. I don't know.
This is the worst, not only is this a dumb idea in the first place, here's a kid that was raised in a completely different culture, but, he's an admiral's grandson, so we have to kidnap him back. Not only is that a bad start, but then the person who has zero psychological training and hates children is the one who has to slowly work through this incredibly delicate, psychologically harrowing situation.
Indeed.
This is the worst idea. I don't care if he's the one that the kid gravitates toward. This is stupid.
Yes. This is a bad idea with a capital bad idea.
Which stands for pool.
I was thinking about the Music Man the other day. Anyway.
Yeah, you have to reference the Music Man occasionally so people know what kind of real weird nerd you are.
I guess technically I've been in the Music Man, but
fun.
Not as an actor.
It was Tree 3. I played the trombone.
I actually did play the trombone. At the production, there'd be the band in the play, but there'd also be our band, which would come out at the end to play 76 trombones.
Ah,
yeah. And leading up to that, it was really boring because we had nothing else to do.
Sit behind the stage and watch the back of the show.
We didn't even get that. We were in a room down in the basement.
Oh.
So just sit here and wait. Okay, we have nothing to do.
I know it's still more accepted, but nerds become so mainstream and all the stuff that used to be. I feel like musical theater is still one of the only things considered even mildly dorky.
Yes.
Even though they're trying really hard not to with all these stupid wicked musicals. They're good, but it's becoming too mainstream. No. It gets boring once it's mainstream.
So we need more quirky musicals, and yet mainstream folks are like, this. We don't get it. Anyway.
So Picard visits Jono in the guest quarters. He's still making that annoying noise, and he explains that it is what his culture does when they are in distress and mourning. So, of course, Picard, Mr. We have to respect everybody's cultures, orders him to never do it again.
Yeah, so I guess Picard's limit on that is if I'm slightly annoyed, I can tell you to shove it. But otherwise, we have to respect your culture.
That seems to be the microcosm. The way this episode is written, it's this is liberal acceptance right here.
Mm-hmm.
This whole episode, liberal acceptance and integration. It's we accept and respect your culture until I find it slightly troubling.
Yes, and then, be
then
gone.
You need to do our shit.
I also kind of have the wondering of the inside their culture, why did this particular sort of practice become a thing? Is it to signal that, you are in distress and so please come help me? Or is this I am signaling to my captors or something like that I'm more trouble than I'm worth? I'm actually kind of curious.
Hey, it feels like it has a pretty natural connection to historical keening. The chanty sing crying of ancient Ireland.
I don't know very much about that, so.
It's probably what inspired Banshees.
Neat.
It's even an older practice than that. They had that in Rome, too. You used to basically employ older women to come cry at somebody's funeral. That was their whole job. And then eventually that sort of evolved into a kind of chanty sing crying that was called keening, in Ireland at least. And that was also your whole job. And you'd just sit there and sing cry over the body for a couple of days.
Groovy.
So there's actually a lot of historical Earth practices that this could be connected to. So Jono wants to go home, and he feels like a prisoner because he's a prisoner.
Yes.
But Picard goes, no. You're not a prisoner. You're just not allowed to leave.
So a prisoner then. Got it.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it because we are going to talk you out of wanting to go home, you see.
we're going to make our pitch, and we're going to make it over and over again until you stay.
And Jonah also doesn't like being in the guest quarters because he always lived with his captain. Got to move into Picard's room.
So, there's maybe a question that should have been asked here of why he stayed with his captain.
Yeah, someone could have. At this point, it's kind of like he's his pet or something, but.
Oh, just your
that
culture.
Seems
everyone
to be the attitude.
Yeah. So everyone just has the same room as the captain. It's like a group thing, or what's going on?
Or what? Yeah. So of course he moves himself in with Picard. Picard tries to ask if he was abused very non-tactfully. He's confronted with the Talarian attitude towards pain, which is it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So every time Picard tries to ask him about abuse, he's just, I don't understand. It's like, of course I got hurt. I'm a soldier. That's what, life is. You get hurt sometimes.
Okay, maybe we should go back to Beverly and mention this. And could this have been the case that, that there's some sort of training that he went through that's just a part of that?
No, let's just assume we already know what's going on.
Yeah. Man, this is just one idea that's terrible after another.
So Picard goes to talk to Troi and tells her that this was a bad idea. And she goes, no, you'll do the best you can, and that will probably be fine.
Maybe we should just ignore you for this episode, Troi. Just in general.
Should be ignoring everyone for this episode. The kid should be in charge. The kid is the only sane one in this entire fucking episode.
Yeah, I want to leave. Okay, we're going to follow your lead. You are now leaving. Good.
Sure,
okay.
Yes, good. You can leave if you want. We have no right nor ability to keep you here. It is kind of against our whole thing. It's weird that we aren't even mentioning that. So Picard comes back to find Jonah listening to loud alien music.
Yeah, I can kind of groove to it.
They seem to want to make this into he's an annoying teenager, but they don't fully commit to it. So they're kind of sprinkling the line between annoying teenager and alien culture.
I suppose this sort of thing eventually gets adopted to Worf liking Klingon opera instead, and all that goes with that.
Yeah. Picard turns it off as Jonah look at some childhood photos of himself and his parents in the colony before the attack. Picard tries to get Jonah on his side with this stuff. The Talarians killed your family, Yeah. Great. Good job.
That's terrible. I don't remember them because I was 4.
It's also that happens. War and all. Death happens. Mm-hmm. They have such a different attitude towards death and hardship in this culture, and Picard is just your parents died. It's yep, happens.
Yep, okay. Can I go back to my music now?
No more music, no more keening, no whatever. So all Jonah knows is that Captain Endar rescued him from the colony, and the Talarian ship finally arrives because remember the Talarian ship was coming at some point.
Yes. Wait a moment. Endar, Captain Endar, is a ship named the Endar Spire?
No.
Okay.
We don't know what it's named something that I didn't write down, but it's not called the Endar Spire, unfortunately.
Alas.
So Picard leaves to go talk to the Talarians, and Jonah starts having flashbacks of his parents dying. It seems not good.
No.
Shouldn't have maybe just sprung so your parents got murdered by your new family.
Oh.
Okay, bye.
Oh. Yeah, maybe I should be, I don't know, kept company for a little while first. Riker, you're not doing anything this episode. Get over here.
So Picard finally gets over there to talk to the Talarian captain, and Picard goes, why do you have a human on your ship? And he goes, because it is my son.
Dun, dun, dun.
So they decided they need to do a face-to-face, so Endar comes aboard. He led the attack in the Federation colony. In the aftermath, he found a young human boy, and given that he'd previously lost his son in a battle with humans, according to their tradition, he took the human as his new son.
Oh.
All simple and straightforward.
Yeah, so in their culture, this makes total sense. And, Picard, as someone who respects other people's cultures, you should be all right, so we still want to maybe do a thing, but we need to, actually respect your culture here.
So Picard challenges him with all the injuries, and Endar asks if he has had a teenage boy, or knows a teenage boy. He did sports and horseback racing, or something similar to horseback racing.
Or been near a teenage boy sometime in his life, maybe.
Yeah. Have you encountered a teenage boy?
Have you ever been one? And Picard's no.
I know this kid named Wesley. He looks over at Wesley. No, I mean a teenage boy.
Yeah. We're not sure what he is, but he's not a teenage boy.
Not a weird tiny adult. So he's just like, yeah, he broke an arm because he's like an active kid who's trying to impress people.
Yeah, we got these crazy beasts that, he's tried to ride that one time, and, well, it didn't turn out so well for him. But he was excited and wanted to prove himself, so he did it.
So Picard still refuses to let Juno return because his Earth family is waiting, and that's the one that really matters.
Well, where has his Earth family been this entire time?
Yeah, back on Earth, having promotions and shit. So Endar is going to get his son back one way or another, and we have 2 more ships on the way. It won't matter, but we have them.
We'll threaten you with our... actually, never mind. We're give them back.
Lasers and or missiles. It's unclear.
Yeah, no, we'll ram you with our ships.
They let Endar talk to Jono finally. They touch foreheads, which is important in their culture, I guess. And Endar says that Jono is at the age of decision, so he'll let him do whatever he decides to do, which, at this point is more than fucking Picard's letting him do.
Indeed. Like, I'm going to, respect your choices in this matter, so,
And Jonah says he wants to go home and never have to see these stupid humans again.
All right, that sounds reasonable, Jono. Come on, let's go.
So they decide that he's not going to leave without his son, even if it means war with the Federation. And the crew suddenly realize this crazy thing that Endar said 5 minutes ago, that Jono is old enough to make his own damn decisions. So the thing that they decide is that they have to convince him that he doesn't want to go.
Good luck with that. Again, this is very much you trying sort of bend things for this outcome that you really want, and you're kind of going a little hard on that. Really?
Yeah, it's like we can let him make his own decisions, by which I mean we can convince him to make the right decision.
Yeah, and the right decision is what we decide.
So 2 more warships are on the way. They do not have the offensive capability to do anything meaningful to the Enterprise, but they're worried they might hurt themselves if they try.
Yeah, well, I guess they'll blow out their phaser banks or something like that. I don't know.
They get a message for Jono from his grandmother, who is really looking forward to meeting him and is glad that he's alive, etc., etc. Grandma's not making a good case here.
Yeah, she's existing, and, I'm awkward and thought you were dead, and it's going to be so lovely you can come hang out on Earth, and that'll be fun, right?
Now, John is confused because he's trapped between 2 worlds, and Picard won't let him do anything. He can't listen to his music, he can't mourn, he's been ordered to sit still in a room. Picard goes, you know what I do is play racquetball.
So let's go do that.
So they play racquetball for a bit, but the ball goes pew-pew because it's on weird reflective surfaces, and that makes him remember the pew-pew of the laser guns that killed all of his family.
Oh no, time for more flashbacks.
So they have flashbacks and crying, and he's weak because he's crying, but they go, no, crying is part of being human. We sometimes remember that we don't have to uphold masculinity.
Yeah. We're cry, but not when we're mourning.
Yeah.
We do cry when we're having flashbacks. Okay, we got that. Okay.
But yeah, we have progressed as a society. Men can now shed 2 manly tears.
Under the right circumstance.
They take him to 10-4 to meet Wesley, because I guess they think having somebody his own age to hang out with would be helpful. Seems like they maybe should have done that earlier, honestly.
Yeah. There's maybe some worry that, he's not ready to encounter Wesley. We want him to like humans, right?
So we've established through various points that, like, there are people around Wesley's age, like women on the ship who are around Wesley's age.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like at some point nobody went, here is a human teenage boy. Let's maybe show him that there are hot women on board.
Be a little awkward, but
see how long that patriarchy lasts in there.
Yeah. So that I think that was maybe a little too heavy-handed for this episode somehow.
Somehow. I'm just surprised they didn't get there, given all the other weird shit they're doing in this episode. So Jonah accidentally spills a banana split on Wesley, and they all laugh.
Ha-ha!
And Data does one of his, I don't understand, everyone's laughing just because something was spilled.
You see, Jono's the jock in the situation, and Wesley's the nerd.
Yeah.
And we're recreating a scene from the 1990s, except we find it ironic now, so we're now chuckling about it. That's totally what's going on, Data.
And then they look at them and go like, look, he's laughing and having fun. Now he's probably human and will stay.
Yeah, because the Talarians or whatever they are, they totally don't laugh for reasons.
Yeah, they don't have ice cream. We have ice cream. The greatest human invention.
Yep. Food that you cool down to eat.
So later that night, Jono sneaks into Picard's room and stabs him with a knife.
As you do.
Picard, who is no stranger to being stabbed in the chest with knives, thinks everything's fine and just wants to talk to Jono.
Yes.
Like, yeah, it's fine. This happens.
Yeah, if you get a little to the side, you'll hit my lung there, which I haven't got that one pierced yet. But the heart, yeah, you wouldn't do anything if you did manage to get it all the way through my sternum. So
Crusher insists they have to wait until she's done with the surgery, which I guess is fair. Mm-hmm. Also, the warships arrive, so Riker, who's done fuck all this episode, has to show up and tell them that Jono attacked the captain, and now they have to deal with all that on top of everything else that's going on.
All right, well, attempted murder, yeah, I think there's maybe another thing to be discussing here at this point here.
I'd honestly forgotten Riker appears in this episode because he does literally nothing.
Like I said earlier, Riker, you're not doing anything this episode. Contribute!
So, he keeps directing shit around this time period, so he's not always in the episodes anymore.
Yeah, I know Geordi's just stock footage this episode because he was, doing surgery stuff right around this time, but, Riker, you can be in the episode, come on.
So John finally gets to come into sickbay, and he's ready to die because attacking a captain is a death offense, which mostly in the military, yeah.
It's causing a whole, rebellion amongst the troops sort of vibe there, sort of.
So Picard just wants to know why. Why did you stab me? And he goes, well, I was being very self-aware that I'd been betraying my father by eating ice cream and throwing away everything I'd ever known. And being closer to Picard, the father who was sort of from Earth or something. And they go, oh shit, we fucked up this kid good.
Yeah, Yeah, maybe I shouldn't be around children, including this one's particularly, because they stabbed me.
Yeah. Every time I'm near a kid, I get stabbed. Yeah. That's why I don't like children.
Even when I was a child, I got stabbed. Sure, I was, my 20s technically, but compared to now, that's what I was a child then.
The Riker and Endar are about to start shooting at each other when Picard jumps up to have a big speech. He goes, there has been a crime committed on this ship. The crime of me not listening.
Oh. Well, so what have you heard things now, Captain?
As I was so obsessed with trying to get Jonah to be human and convince him to stay with the humans that I neglected to think about what was best for him and never bothered to listen to what he wanted. So he gets to go home now, say goodbye.
Goodbye, Jono.
Jono says goodbye, and he takes off his gloves and touches Picard's forehead because he's accepted some amount of not being as racist.
At least to Picard, but then again, Picard, he's kind of bald there, and the Talarians kind of have this forehead thing with bald spots, so maybe he's like, you're bald enough for me? Does that work?
Yeah, he's just like, you have less hair than the other humans. I find hair disgusting.
Yeah. But you have hair, but it's my hair. It's not on you. Come on. Yeah. So suddenly human. There's some attempts to rework someone to re-educate them out of their culture going on here.
Yeah. This sucks. And I know that they did we got so obsessed with this that we had to let him go back or whatever. We were so obsessed with making him human. But, why? I get they were trying to do we can make mistakes and got all caught up in shit. But, why were you getting caught up in shit?
Mm-hmm. To a certain extent, because Riker's sitting this one out. Data's not having anything to say about, Quest for Humanity, and, the character who grew up among humans and has, sort of embraced a dual culture of sorts that he has kind of made his own. Worf is not really relevant except for a couple moments here. It's all
which
about,
is odd.
Yeah, it's all about Picard having this sort of thing going on. And so Picard's
we need to tell you about how we are objectively better than the people who raised you, which is not a normal thing that you have to worry about with the Federation. They suddenly decided that all of their we need to respect other people's cultures and whatever doesn't really matter anymore.
Mm-hmm. It does kind of smell a lot of like some of the first few seasons here. Like, oh yes, the Federation is just so grand and awesome sort of plots just kind of creeping back into things here. And then Picard's like finally, oh, maybe we are the assholes in this situation.
So this is there's a lot of shit that this could be. There's obviously historically related stuff in North American history where it was not uncommon for children, non-native Indian families to be raised by various American Indian tribes. Mm-hmm. And then when people found out about it, they went, oh my god, we have to go save the white child from the savages because they're being treated terribly by the savages.
And, it doesn't matter how many of their adopted family we kill in the process. We must rescue them and, dress them up in our colonial garb or whatever and hope they don't get some sort of weird disease we brought over.
I feel like that's just such the problem with this episode. It could be an interesting discussion about being torn between two worlds. Who does have the better claim to knowing what's right for the kid? The kid doesn't have enough information to fully make an informed decision because he spent all of his time in one culture, doesn't know his other culture, like doesn't get a chance to talk to anybody that he's related to from Earth. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a very good argument to be made that this child does not necessarily have all of the available information that he needs to be able to make a fully informed decision on this matter. Yes. That is a definite argument you could make.
Yes.
But the argument that this story makes is these people are savages.
And thus we must rescue him from the savages and,
And then realize I was wrong about that, actually.
And it's very ham-fisted, and this is one of those episodes of TNG that I don't much care for. And there's maybe a few other sort of ways to reinterpret what's going on, but it all kind of comes down to the idea that it is a-okay to ignore the desires of a child until you realize, oh, you were being an asshole about it. And and until that point, it's fine.
I think it's weird to have, I get they're trying to do we had biases and then we unlearned our biases. This is great. Look at us go. But it is weird to you spent so long, so much of the time going, yeah, these people are terrible. These people are probably child abusers. These people are awful. Their culture is weird to us and therefore bad. But that's the majority of what you get from this episode. The last 5-minute turnaround isn't even, I realized that I was judging your culture in a racist way. It's, well, you may be savages, but the kid wants to stay with you, and I wasn't listening to him.
So, I'm still going to be judgmental about you throughout this, even up past the end of the episode. But, I guess I'll give in this one time for the kid's sake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I got stabbed, so, there might be
I like getting stabbed. Yeah. Being stabbed is the only way I know how to learn life lessons. Yes. as we'll realize later.
Yeah, so, Picard, this
being stabbed is a very essential step in my growth process.
So, this is kind of character assassination for Picard, the episode. It could have been so much better. All right, so let's get rid of this being, racist against these, random aliens here stuff entirely. It's we don't understand their culture. It's very alien to us. And, because, and use that as your thing as opposed to, no, this is a violent culture, so we must try to steer them away from it, sort of thing that the episode is doing. So, we don't understand what's going on, and so we can't connect with the child who is not, fully steeped in it. And, there is a little bit of that, but make it the entirety of the main cause for aversion here, because plenty of times if you were to actually be exploring space, you would run into aliens that are not just cookie cutter warrior species, 5,820 here. We'd be, these are folks with this, thing that they do that we don't understand. We have not experienced their life as them. We don't, might be informed by their environment, biology, history, culture, whatever. And we should be okay with that. But we still have to deal with our sort of implicit biases here that because we don't understand what's going on, we are finding ourselves reacting in a certain way that if we were more cognizant of what was going on internally for ourselves, we wouldn't be, because we're trying to be the best selves we are. And so you could very much have, cut out some of the in this episode and, have Picard say, talk to Worf about this. It's like, I have learned a lot about the Klingon society from you, some of our other experiences here. But, so I am, fully cognizant of how to interact with you. But, how do we do with this culture that is just, we don't have any, common ground with? Can you give me some advice, Worf, as opposed to Worf being the one that usually gets advice from Picard? It would be an interesting sort of turnaround there, and be very useful for building the characters, both Picard and Worf in this situation. But that's not what we do. Ugh.
Well, one of the main problems that they hit is they needed another guest star, because they sort of got into a little bit of his family dynamic contradicts some things about his culture. He doesn't get a chance to actually talk to Grandma. And they have 5 seconds of, but she's a woman. How is she in a leadership position? Yeah. But they don't really explore that in any meaningful way. And I think that is also one of the key issues that you have with this, because they do so much to give you so much this culture is bad shorthand. Mm-hmm. Because one of the two things that you know about this culture is that they are a warrior culture, which we don't like. We don't like the Klingons. We just grudgingly accept them because they, are doing space opera stuff off in the corner. Yeah. But we don't really like them. They have a bad culture.
Their culture, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
And then they're also violently sexist, which is, in this show especially, misogyny is just the byword for bad culture. If you want to introduce a culture that you're not supposed to like, you say that they hate women, and that's it. That's all you need to know in this show.
Pretty much. Now, what if they had 5 genders?
Yeah, you could do extra shit, You could do other things, but no.
I know. What if they, instead of being misogynist in some way, they, I don't know, ate babies? How about that?
Yeah, you couldn't get anywhere in this show. They weren't even allowed to say gay people exist in this show. So
there's a lot of laziness that is instigated by the constraints on the show at the time, and some of it's self-inflicted. Hello, Richard Berman. Other parts are corporate mandate sort of stuff there, and. Yeah, and there's a lot of things that you could sort of pick apart here that, unfortunately, is very much a product of the time, not necessarily because that's what they wanted to do, but what they were forced to do. So,
but they I think they even undermined the last thing. It's supposed to be we learned things. We were able to grow from our bigoted standoffs and beliefs. So. It's great. We should celebrate the ending because we learned and grew. But they spent so much time with this culture is just terrible part that you can't even celebrate that the kid goes back, because he's going back to the terrible misogynistic culture.
Yeah. And
that we've established is bad and evil and inferior to humanity in every way.
And so
okay, you learned you should listen to the kid, but the episode has told you that the kid is making objectively the wrong decision.
Maybe they should have done a follow-up episode a few seasons later when they're, in season 7 kind of running out of ideas, where it was Jono's back, and, he's gone and done a bunch of adventures, and, now, he wants to maybe reconnect with his family, but human side of his family, but is also very Tolarian in his sort of, views here. and is also more nuanced about all of that compared to where we start with this episode, where it's like, yes, they are kind of misogynistic culture, but we now understand that his sort of version of it when he was being freaking out with everybody isn't what the culture's actually supposed to be like. But he was kind of overcompensating as a teen who spends most of his time with other boys that are trying to be super macho all the time. And it's like, oh yeah, there's maybe a subculture here that is very hyper misogynistic, while the rest of it is much less so, and or has other things going on that kind of equates to this in this particular situation. And then you can have a whole thing about him trying to he wants to stay true to his Talarian upbringing, but wants to I guess chill out about some things. And
yeah, so you're saying that the thing is this: it's not that the society is sexist. He's just a stupid teenager.
Kind of, yeah. And we're getting a view of his society through the stupid teenager lens.
I think the thing that we can say now definitively, now that we're so far removed from this episode, we're almost 30 years on from when this episode was written. We've had so much other Star Trek media stuff. I think the thing we can definitively say is everyone agrees this episode is terrible because they don't even reference this kid in Lower Decks. Yep. And they would.
He might have had great hair and a snazzy jacket, but that's about all this episode's got going for it.
So anyway, unless we want to cite any more depressing historical child statistics.
Yeah, I could talk about the knife that Picard gets stabbed, which is technically continuity.
Oh yeah,
it's a
continuity knife.
Yeah, it's because it's the Klingon knife he got for being worst Shadich.
Yeah. It just has, because you shouldn't stop showing the teenagers your random knives, Picard. I know, it does make teenage boys think you're cool, but it's not safe. I think that's the most relatable part. I don't know how to relate to children. Here, shiny knife. Kids like knives.
Yeah. Also, cop out for having two J names for Jono here. So
I know.
And I guess it would have been hilarious if his human name was something like Sebastian or something like that, because then he would have been the first Sub Rosa. Anyway, that's all I got, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and on that, it's time for the Galaxy's favorite game show!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Galaxy's favorite game show, where our various contestants are trying not to be stabbed, but, that happens sometimes. But they would rack up various points in order to win today's prizes, so let's start handing them out. The first one is the Child Custody Battle Arena prize, which goes to Picard and Endar. Who has the bigger ship? Who is willing to fight a war? Who will come out on top? Tune in Sunday, and possibly whenever this episode's airing. What do they win, Gepwin?
They win a much better ending to the episode, which is we'll just play racquetball for him.
Endar versus Picard, racquetball, fight, swim, serve. Yeah, there we go.
Endar accidentally stabs him with the racket.
Picard's like, well, I should have seen this coming, actually. Our second is the Berserker Button prize, which goes to Jono on several occasions. He'll make noise about it later if you ask him why. So, Anyway, what does he win?
Jono wins headphones. They constantly have these music fights and noise fights. They don't have headphones anymore in the future.
Well, maybe the earbuds just got so small that people lost all of them.
Very realistic. I've always said, if it's small enough for me to swallow, I'm going to lose it.
Did you swallow your cell phone again? Our final prize is the Medical Malpractice prize, which goes to Troi for getting rather hands-off once Jono's been handed off to Picard, because, just kind of like, I'll kind of show up one more time, and then, it's up to you, Picard. Good luck. What did she win?
Troi gets a damn vacation. She's obviously burnt out at this point. She's like, oh, this kid has a lot of trauma and is dealing with a very psychologically fraught situation. Mm-hmm. You do it.
Yep. The captain, who quite recently had a traumatic incident himself where he lost all agency and had other people telling him what to do.
Yeah, given the way that we've discovered that you need to fix psychological trauma in this show, he shouldn't have played racquetball. He should have taken him out for a good old-fashioned mud fight.
There you go. So next time Jono shows up in Star Trek, it's time for a mud fight. That's all I got here, Gapin. Feel free to take us away and hopefully away from this, whatever this is, episode.
So, thank you for being here and joining us on this distraction that we call the Galaxy's Favorite Game Show!
Well, that's over with.
So next episode we get to Bender's favorite catchphrase.
Remember me! Whoosh. Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched some of the earlier seasons of Futurama. I should fix that, maybe.
Yeah, because the later seasons got weird, and then I still don't know what they're doing with the Hulu seasons.
I think if you sort of rearrange some of the like semi-movie ones to be before the Devil's Hands or Idle Play things, that's actually a pretty dang good end of the series in total, honestly.
Yeah.
But remember me. It's Picard decides to pull a trick on Beverly, and so they have the entire ship to themselves.
Yep, everyone's just hiding behind the couch.
Yeah, and so there might be a surprise party later, but for the time being, it's all about just the two of them exploring space together. Yeah.
Or one of those other things where like they've had those things where they show that like the number of crewmen like that they say are on the ship would fit in about a postage stamp sized piece of the ship. So like it's a miracle anyone sees each other on this ship ever.
Indeed. I guess one way to sort of view things is that it's like 80% apartment building. So you unless you have a very community space designed apartment building, you don't tend to see a lot of your neighbors unless they're going to and from work. And then the rest of it's, niche locations for particular sorts of work. So you only see your 5 or 6 crew members when you show up to those places.
Yeah, everyone on this ship only sees each other a couple of times a week when they're checking the mailboxes.
Yeah. And of course, there's like the couple people that like hang out in the nacelles and they never see anybody. And, there's the, reason 10 Forward is like the hangout spot because like, I haven't seen people in weeks. I work in, small fusion reactor zone 15, and it only needs one person to kind of monitor things. I need like some sort of contact with anybody.
So next episode, the people on the ship start disappearing. You've got Dr. Quace, medicine woman, and that guy who really creepily likes Wesley shows up again for the second time. Remember him? Remember how important this is for some reason? That someone's really fucking invested in this? All the other shit from the first season that we dropped, this is the thing we're keeping going for some reason?
It's going to be a whole arc, kind of.
Yeah, why? And it ends doing worse stuff with Indians than this episode did, somehow.
So, shrug time, but it does have the most, like, wow, that's creepy sort of lines. There's your warp bubble, Wesley.
The thing is cool. The whole thing's cool. And they don't give Gates McFadden enough time to do cool shit. And they don't let Crusher as a character do cool shit. So this is a really good episode if you like Crusher as a character, which I always have. But the rest of the episode is stupid and I hate it. Everything with Crusher is great. The outside stuff, once they start explaining what's going on, it's like, this is stupid and I hate you.
Yeah, we could have like cut out like a third of the episode and just had Crusher time all the way through.
Yeah, but somehow, even in an episode about Dr. Crusher, the episode has to be about Wesley. Yeah. Because he's the most important person on the ship right now for some reason.
Less so than season 1, but still like, yeah.
Yeah, we still haven't gotten over this. Wesley, someone decided Wesley was going to be an amazing main character that all the kids would gravitate to and would make their show super successful, and they would not give up on that idea.
I think that person was Gene Roddenberry. Yeah. So for anyone who's a Gene Roddenberry stan still, that should be the final evidence. I'm okay with Wesley as a character, but how they do all this, magical Harry Potter nonsense bull is just, yeah.
Well, to paraphrase Ms. Gilbert, Gene Roddenberry was a great storyteller and terrible at a lot of other shit. And that's next episode, is Remember Me.
Remember me, Gepwin. Remember you.
Who? I've never heard of you before. You never existed.
Next time on Watchers of Tomorrow. Where did Gepwin go? Oh no! You have been listening to Watchers of Tomorrow, a podcast on science fiction media. Find and listen to Watchers of Tomorrow on Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Digital Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Google Play, and many more places where podcasts can be found. If you enjoyed our podcast, make sure to subscribe for more. And make sure to rate your experience or leave us a review. You may find Gepwin on YouTube as Gepwin and on Pillowfort. You may find Dr. Isix, on YouTube and Blue Sky. Music is Waveform and Mori's Principle, both by DRKRN, and Quirky Dog by Kevin MacLeod. Check out the Watchers of Tomorrow Discord channel. You may also find Watchers of Tomorrow on Tumblr. Make sure to share the experience of Watchers of Tomorrow with your friends, loved ones, enemies, alien overlords, and your doppelganger from the mirror dimension. Have a good day, and ahead, warp factor heckin' fast.